what is going on? It is 12 noon on Friday, which means it's time for this week's episode of State of Real Estate. My name is John Carissimo, and the show is brought to you by the Tampa School of Real Estate. We're here every single Friday, as well as Wednesdays at 12 noon Eastern Time to help you mastermind or grow your real estate business. Because at the Tampa School of Real Estate, we're on a mission not just to get you to pass your real estate exam, but to help you build a successful real estate career. We want to help you achieve that dream real estate career that you have in your head. We want to help you make that a reality. But we know you're not going to be able to just kind of, magically just figure it out. Just getting your real estate license, that's a great milestone, but now what? Now what? What's next? How do you actually make money with that? So a bunch of things like taking post-licensing and furthering your training and education, but look, it's as easy as tuning in on Fridays at 12 noon Eastern Time. That's one way every Friday, every single week. You can take advantage of these sessions where we talk about all kinds of different topics to help you grow your real estate business. And what we're going to be covering today is on building your brand. And this is essential if you want to be a true real estate professional. If you want people to see you as a true real estate professional, you might be a real estate professional, but it's really your brand and your branding that makes you visible to your clients as a real estate professional. And that's really important. Take a step back, take a step outside your business and look at the way your clients interact with you and your business and ask yourself, is that the experience I want to be providing? Is that the brand that I want to convey to my customers? Tampa School of Real Estate, part of our brand is helping you achieve success, and that's why we're out here on YouTube every week shouting at the top of the live streams to help you build a successful real estate career. And look, we know hopping on a YouTube video here for a half hour and covering some basic little topics, we might not have anybody that ends up giving us any sort of business. We're not looking for direct business off of this. We're looking to help people. And when you gear your business towards helping people and really conveying that branding and that messaging that you're there to help, people will trust you. People will want to buy in to what it is that you're selling. And when you're handling someone's biggest purchase of their lifetime, that's extremely important that they're bought in and they're sold, not just on the house it is that they want to buy, but they're trusted real estate professional. So we're going to be talking about how to frame that experience, how to build your brand so that way your clients aren't just using you, but they're actually sold on you. So I'm really excited to bring today's show to you today. I'm John Carissimo. You're watching State of Real Estate.
You are watching
State of Real Estate. Every Friday at 12 noon Eastern Time. Grow your real estate business. You're watching State of Real Estate. Hey, welcome back to this week's episode of State of Real Estate. My name is John Carissimo, and this show is brought to you by the Tampa School of Real Estate. We're here every single Friday. If you guys are not yet subscribed, hit that bell icon, whether you're on Facebook, YouTube, or checking us out on our Success Center. If you're on our website, just drop in your email so that way you get notifications whenever it is that we've got new content. Because like I said, we're here every Friday, and we've got all the archives for years of videos on all different topics, whether it's open houses, working with buyers, closing buyers quickly, internet marketing, lead generation, door knocking, cold calling scripts. We've talked about so many things over the years. So if you guys are starting out a career in real estate, take advantage of that information and make sure you're buckled in to keep getting this information fed to you. Because again, we want to see you be successful. We could sit here and say, well, we got you licensed and the rest is on you. You figure out the rest. And there's some places out there that's kind of how they think about their students. It's like, yeah, we'll help you get your real estate license. We'll provide the course, but go figure out the rest on your own. We're not here to do that. I made so many mistakes when I was starting my real estate career. If you look at almost everyone that has a real estate license, they could all look back on their real estate career and describe something that was a mistake, something that they do differently now, something that they're maybe not proud of, something where things didn't go as planned, took longer than maybe expected. And when you're starting a real estate business, when you're starting really any business, those initial stages are the most fragile. And the way that you inoculate or vaccinate. Vaccines are a big popular topic right now. But think of this idea of a vaccine that, it's basically this thing that you could take that prevents things to happen in the future. That's what you could do with your real estate business. Taking in this knowledge is going to help you avoid a lot of the mistakes and protect your business from things that could happen because you'll know about them. But look, for this, we're not going to inject anything inside of you. You just got to strap yourself in and take in this information. And of course, if you guys already have your real estate license, you haven't taken post-licensing yet, again, a lot of the stuff we teach in post-licensing is all about building your real estate business. So let's talk about today's topic, your brand, and how do we build that? So again, what is important is the visibility. Number one thing, the number one problem, the number one reason why you don't have more business than you have or that you don't have business is visibility. Now, what do I mean when I say visibility? People see you. If people do not see you, it'll be extremely difficult to build your brand. Let's make that actually say brand here instead of my chicken scratch with letters written on top of each other. That looks more like a 13 than it does a B. Don't judge me by my handwriting, because I'll look like I don't know what I'm talking about, because I write like I'm an elephant or something, writing with my trunk. Anyways, so visibility, people actually seeing you. Because it doesn't matter how great you are if people don't know you exist. It doesn't matter how much knowledge you have. It doesn't matter how many classes you've taken. It doesn't matter how many people you've helped if people do not know you exist. And the whole saying, out of sight, out of mind. You do not want to be out of your client's mind. You want to be in your client's minds. That's the name of the game, especially when you're trying to grow and prospect business. One of the things I see a lot of agents do, new or experienced, is, and this is true because you could see on Zillow, Realtor.com, all these different platforms, Homes.com, these lead sales. And when you're buying leads, so that's one way it is you go about getting leads, is you go to subscribe to some model like Zillow.com, Realtor.com, Trulia.com, something like that, where they basically do the work of trying to get leads for you. Is that building your brand? No. That's not necessarily lead generation that builds your brand. That's lead generation that will get you. I will say they are more turnkey leads typically. But here's the difference when you're working with somebody that, say, just comes in off of Zillow. They might have been on there for 6 months, a year, searching through properties. They might have even talked to other real estate agents at some point. They might have been all over the place. And what point are you getting involved in their home search process? The answer usually is late in the process. Now, that's usually the justification of these leads being more expensive than other ways it is you could generate leads for your business. But the big miss is the branding, because if you've got somebody that's ready to buy, you might be able to get some business from that lead. But usually when you're buying these leads, that are supposed to be the low-hanging fruit and it turns out they're earlier on in the process, you have a very limited window to sell them on your brand, because you have a very limited window where you will be visible to them, where you will have visibility, where they will see you until you go out of sight and then you go out of their mind. So again, does it make sense for you to use those lead generation programs, platforms that you pay some sort of subscription and they give you these leads that are usually people that are close to buying? You could make money on that. There's the commission payoff, so even when those leads cost a lot, the typical commission usually dwarfs whatever the cost it is for lead generation. But there are more effective ways to generate leads, and not only more effective, but cheaper ways to generate leads. But now the catch is it's going to be more work and more time on your part. But that's really the investment it is that you're making to build your real estate brand. So rather than imagine, again, put yourself in the home buyer shoes. And you might be saying, well, what about sellers? Just hold on a minute. We'll talk about sellers. But put yourself in the home buying process. And if you're a seller, you're also a home buyer. You're not going to sell your house until you know where it is that you want to go. That usually is the case with most sellers. They don't even think about selling, turning their back on their home unless they absolutely need to sell for some other reason. But for most people, they want to be sold on something else before they'll turn their back on their home that they've lived in and loved and shared with their families for so many years. So, again, put yourself in that buyer frame of mind. Do people just wake up one morning and say, I'm going to buy a new house today, and they go buy a new house? There is a very rare group of people that may do that, but for the other 99.99% of us, we don't just wake up one day and decide we want to buy a house. This is something, especially if this is our house, this is our home, this is where we're going to be living. Think of how long that decision-making process is. For the people that own houses right now, the seller leads that you might be after. Think of how long it is that they've been in that house, that they've owned that house, that they've lived there, and how attached it is that they may be, and how long it is they may be thinking about moving. This might go on for 5 years of them thinking about moving. What is it that's going to push them over the edge? Well, when they fall in love with that next property. No one's going to fall in love with selling their property unless maybe there's, like, say, a divorce or some life-changing, altering circumstance. Then maybe all of a sudden they just want to sell and get out of there. But for the rest of people, they don't want to sell that property until, the timing is right and everything lines up. But those become less of a concern when they fall in love with that next property. So now, what does this have to do with building your brand? Well, you've probably heard me say many times, as a new agent, I don't recommend you go out and get yourself a real estate website. And the reason why I don't recommend that, if your broker doesn't already provide you a website, to get a good website that works, it's usually going to be in the range of $500, $600, $700 a month. Maybe a little bit cheaper if you don't need all the bells and whistles, but those bells and whistles could result in a lot of extra business that could make it much more worth those extra couple $100 every single month. But regardless, as a new agent, that's an extensive expense. You might be thinking about, okay, how am I joining the Association of Realtors? How am I paying for my licensing course? And now you're saying, wait a minute, I need a software that costs hundreds of dollars a month? No, you don't. But if your broker already provides that, because that's actually becoming a lot more of the norm. Now, the website that your broker provides, it might be a great website or it might just be something. Even with your MLS, there's usually some sort of client portal that you have. But the name of the game ultimately is to associate yourself with their home search. And this is ultimately what Zillow does to a certain degree, but because this is a third-party platform, you don't necessarily have control of the brand. Because think of what brand it is they're sold on. If they're shopping Zillow, they're not sold on you, they're sold on this. That's what they're sold on. They're sold on that app. They might even think that you work for Zillow. No, you don't work for them. You just pay all this money to advertise with them. But that's what you're doing there. You're growing their brand, which that's the big whole thing where realtors are anti-Zillow, because literally you are growing their brand, which, yes, you could get business from that, but how much more business could you have if you really took ownership of your brand? But now, how do you do that? How do you beat Zillow? How do you beat Realtor.com? Well, if you don't have your own website, if you don't have your own property search portal that works as good, if not better than Zillow, that's going to be tough competition. And if you want a property search website that works as good, if not better than Zillow, those are the ones, again, that get more expensive and get pricier. And if that's not something your broker already provides to you as a new agent, that's usually going to be something that's going to break your budget. So I would not make that part of the equation. But that also would be something, again, to consider when you're choosing a broker. Do they provide you a website that you can get your clients on and that you could also track to see what your clients are doing on there, so you could reach out proactively to the people that are most engaged in searching for a home? Notice how much now you're associating yourself with their home search process. If they just go on the big Z and they go search on Zillow, again, the brand that they're sold on is Zillow. That's the website that they're seeing. That's the logo that they're seeing in the corner. That's the app it is that they're seeing on their phone. You are not building your brand on the backs of Zillow. You are building their brand, and they're letting you, make some money off this. But ultimately, they have the control because they have the clients. So how do you take back control? Well, if you've got some sort of real estate property search website, that's where you want your client searching. Number one, because you could associate your brand with that. And think of all the ways it is that you can be visible, that people can see you. It's not just that you see me right here, so like a video. Video is a great example of how you can get people to see you, but that's not the only example. It doesn't even necessarily have to be you talking and speaking or even a picture of you. This could just be something that represents your business. This could be your written word as opposed to your spoken word. There's so many ways to reach people now in 2021. The world has never been more connected than it is today. You know, it might feel like we're separated from each other to a certain degree still, but through that separation that's occurred physically, there's so much more digital. And what this does, this gives us mountaintops that we could shout from and reach people that we don't know, that are searching for the information that we have, for the properties that we have available. And that's the great thing about having one of these property search websites. Again, those are pricey if your broker's not already providing something like that for you. But this is such an essential tool when you really want to grow a large-scale real estate business, because now they don't have to go to these third-party apps and websites. They could come right on your app, right on your website, see your brand, see your image, see your name, and again, most of these websites have some degree of tracking capabilities where you could actually see. Not all websites do. So not all websites are smart websites, but if it is a smarter website that has tracking capabilities where you could see your individual users and what pages it is that they're looking at, what homes they're searching for, which ones that they're saving, which ones they want to see more information about. You know, having all the information about, you know, different neighborhoods and things like that, because this is all what really reflects the experience. That's really what your brand is. Your brand, like it or not, is the experience that you provide. And the reason why I say like it or not is because if you're providing a bad experience to your clients, well, that is a bad brand. Because what do people think about you if you provide a bad experience? Well, that's a bad brand. I don't want to do business with that brand because that brand, you know, maybe it's just that they don't see you. Maybe they're looking for you, but they don't see you. They're maybe looking for you without really looking for you. Where might they be looking for you? Where is it that they're going to experience your brand? Well, there's the face-to-face, as I've said. But there's only so many people that we could be face-to-face with. I don't know, science seems to advance every day, so maybe we're getting closer to cloning, but until we've got cloning, the face-to-face thing can only go so far. But what's the next best thing to face-to-face? Video or virtual face-to-face. Think of how much easier it is to connect with people visually now, whether it be through FaceTime, whether it be through Zoom, Google Hangouts, whatever it might be. Facebook has their little video messenger thing. WhatsApp, they all have video messengers now because video messaging has become so commonplace. You know, you look back in the old like sci-fi movies and TV shows and things like that, and people thought it was so futuristic that, oh wow, they could talk to each other through a TV phone. Well, that's basically what we do now. We've made it to the future. The cars still don't fly yet. They still haven't given us that. Maybe they wouldn't trust us with flying cars. Well, we're basically in the future because we could have these virtual face-to-faces with people we might not be able to get an actual physical face-to-face to. You know, think of this right here, just you being, whether it's a live video, it could be something where you're using Facebook or Instagram or TikTok or whatever it is to pre-record these and push out information there. And the information it is that you're providing through a video, through virtual, is really the same info you'd be providing face-to-face. You know, as we get into more indirect methods, it changes a little bit because it's not as two-way. But then there's a lot of other ways it is that we could reach our clients. We've got the face-to-face, which that's our highest value time. And then we have the virtual face-to-face or the pre-recorded type of face-to-face stuff where maybe they're just watching a video or something, then maybe we have a short little video about being a first-time home buyer or how much money it is you could save compared to renting or whatever the case may be. Again, what information is it that they're curious and interested with? But then how else is it that they're seeing your brand? Well, maybe the phone. Maybe just an auditory type of thing as opposed to a visual, the phone call. But that still involves direct involvement and direct time on your part. So how about SMS or texting? Text messages. Now, you may have to do all your text messaging on your own like this, or those CRM websites, advanced platforms that could help you run your real estate business. There's some advanced ones out there that, again, are really expensive if this isn't something that your broker already provides to you, but where you could actually interact via text message directly with the clients on your website. So that's some neat stuff that could be automated in addition to what you can interact with people one-on-one. And that's where we really start to get bigger than ourselves. We don't have cloning yet for the face-to-face, but we could do things once for a video. There's even voicemail drops for the phone calls. That's a way to do these pre-recorded. Consult your broker regarding rules for voicemail drops, but that's a way that you could do phone calls where you're not making the same exact phone call again and again and again. You record the voicemail once and it beams out to however many people it is that you have in your list. You can do the same thing with text messages, bulk text messaging. And then, so many people are like, John, are you still talking about email? Yes. Yes. When I say email, do not sleep on email. Think of how long email has been around. Think of how much email has survived the test of time. And yes, texting has gotten a lot more popular, but it's really just kind of like email, just in a shorter format using a phone number as opposed to emails that tend to be a little bit longer format. But the nice thing about emails, especially when you're doing some sort of newsletter, or maybe you're sending out properties that are fitting, search alerts. Almost every real estate website, the MLS, Zillow, that's the way the game is played basically with a website. Is you're like, hey, let me send you real estate until I pique your interest with something. That's ultimately, to some degree, what you're doing to engage with clients. Now, you might have a deeper conversation about being a first-time home buyer, or maybe becoming an investor, or maybe why now might be a good time to upgrade their home, or maybe to cash in on their equity, or whatever it is that you're also providing to answer their questions. But these are the ways your brand is disseminated. So they'll have the face-to-face. So what you're wearing, how you're looking, your haircut, how you present yourself, your confidence level, the way it is that you speak, that's going to be present in your face-to-face as well as in your video virtual types of interactions. The phone call, they're not able to see you, but they can imagine what you look like. And the way they fill into that picture of what you look like is based on how you talk. Imagine if I was sitting here talking like this. Hey, excuse me, I'm sorry to bother you. I hope now is a good time. My name is John, and I have a real estate license. Imagine picking up the phone and hearing somebody like that on the other end. Close your eyes and listen to me speak now versus close your eyes. And I want to tell you, see the difference? When you don't know what to say, when you're using filler words. So think about that, because that also conveys your brand. Little things like that. You don't have to sit here and figure out how to write the best article and be the most knowledgeable. But if you don't sound like you know what you're talking about, it doesn't matter how knowledgeable it is that you are. If you can't present yourself in that way, that's going to hurt your brand, and that's a bad brand experience. And the first step is accepting that. Record some of your phone calls and listen to your phone calls. Look at yourself talking in the mirror. Do you ever talk to yourself in the mirror? I do. especially when I'm trying to practice how something looks when I say it, how it comes across. There's a lot of that I could do naturally now, but I'm still constantly refining that because I always want to improve the brand it is that I convey. And you are your brand. But then your brand is also, again, that experience it is that you're providing. So using these different methods to be visible, to be there, to figure out what the concerns and problems and obstacles are of your client is what ultimately is going to make you look good. Throw your logo on there, keep everything the same color, you try to use the same fonts, all that good marketing type of stuff too. But really your brand is about the experience your client has with you. The things it is that you stand for and how it is that you carry people through this process. That's what's going to make you memorable to your clients so you get future referrals, so you get repeat business. So they have all their friends and family sending you their business. But if you don't build that relationship, if you don't control the experience, they're going to have a bad brand experience. And we could sit here and point blame on things we can't control, or you could take responsibility. That's one of our core values here at Tampa School of Real Estate, is to take responsibility. Even when something seems like it's out of your control, take responsibility for what it is that you could do to help influence that outcome. Not everybody might be able to buy or sell their home with you, but you want to try to do everything it is that you can within your power to help influence that outcome for the positive win-win benefit of all parties involved. And again, that's what your brand is about. But your brand really is about being there. That's what they need from the real estate professional. They need somebody to be there for them. They need somebody to listen to them, to tell them everything is going to be okay, to let them know about the different options when things maybe aren't going to be so okay. So that way they're not surprised by things. But it all relates back to some form of a communication. No communication, you have no brand. We could also throw up here advertisements. Any sort of ads or marketing that you're doing. That could be direct mail, postcards, letters. That could be bus bench ads. That could be signs for sale signs. Those are great ways to showcase your brand. But that's not where your branding stops. That's what branding is, but that's not necessarily just how you build your brand. That's how you make it easy for them to remember you by using the same colors, the same images, the same logos, the same fonts. That makes it more easy for them to remember you because remember, we're being constantly bombarded by advertisements all day long. So you want to try to make it easy for them to remember you, but you don't want to remember a bad experience. You don't want them remembering that. You want them remembering a good experience. And that begins by being there, by counseling them, by understanding what their concerns are and how it is that you can best serve them. And when you think about that problem ultimately that you're trying to solve, there's all kinds of different ways you could use these different communication methods to make your brand look good, to provide the information it is they need through one of these various methods that makes sense. That's how you build your real estate brand. That's really what a brand is, because now when they think of you, they have all these associated memories and emotions and feelings and understanding of what it is that you could do for them. If you haven't been using these channels to help inform them of who you are, what you could do, and why you're the best to do it, you do not have a brand. Doesn't matter how good your logo looks or how great your color scheme is or how much everything matches. Again, the number one thing is visibility. And not just that all the colors are the same, because again, that's just to make things easy, to make it easier to remember. But what really is your brand is the experience it is that you provide. It doesn't stop at the color scheme. It doesn't stop at the logo. It doesn't stop at your headshot. It stops really never. Because ultimately you want them to remember your brand, not just before the transaction, not just during the transaction, but also after the transaction. Because you want them to remember beforehand so they actually use you when they do become ready. And you providing this information to them is going to help speed up that process, because you're going to be giving the info that they need to help make the decisions that they're trying to figure out how to make. Now that's going to be important to help keep them sold on you so that they trust you, so that they take your advice, so that they're willing to listen to you and when you give them the different options that are available. And then you want them to remember your brand after the fact, so that way you get repeat business as well as referral business from them. So your branding never ends. Every person that you come in contact with has the potential to be a lifelong client. And if you really think about how much potential is there from somebody being a lifetime client, from sales of their own, from sales of their friends, from sales of their family, from sales of all the people it is they might be able to refer to you, there's a lot of potential from those relationships. But if you don't have the relationship, if they don't see you as a powerful real estate brand, you're going to have a much harder, more difficult sale, not just on them using you, but then on them trusting you when you're working with them. And then on you actually making sure that they remember you after the fact. The more it is that you pump up your brand, the more it is that you be there for the client, the more it is that, again, when they think of you, what is it that they're thinking? What are those associated ideas, emotions, memories that they have when they think of you and your business? That's really what your brand is. And this is how you influence that. You use these communication channels to, again, answer the questions that they have. You think about the face-to-face type of stuff, again, that's the most taxing on us. That's the most expensive because that's using our actual every minute that we have. But imagine if we could take those same questions that we get every single transaction, turn it into a video, turn it into an article, turn it into an email, and now that just becomes part of the process, part of the onboarding experience for them getting to understand and know your brand. So there's a lot of ways it is that you could use this to help make your job easier, so that way you focus on the higher level activities and you focus on building this machine out further. But again, think about the experience. Think about what your client thinks of when they think of you and they think of real estate. Now, you might not like what it is that they're thinking of. Use these to change that. Use these communication channels to be able to change what it is they think about you, your brand, and your business. This is more of a long-term strategy because now you're trying to reach people before they're even thinking about the home buying and selling process. So as they start thinking about it, they're already thinking about you right alongside of it. Sometimes you'll have people that are further along that you're meeting that are, whether they're coming in off of a lead website that you're paying for leads, or you just happen to meet somebody that says, you know what, I actually do need to sell my home. Every now and then you'll have people that are further along in the process, but you want to focus your business on getting people as early as possible, start warming them up, having an email series, having different text messages you're sending out to them, having different planned phone calls it is you can make with them. Every client is different, but they all go through a very, very, very similar process and have a lot of the same decisions to make. So think about those patterns, think about those things that are the same, and then how it is that you could make that process go smoother, make them more well-informed going into it. Because those are the things, again, that are going to get them to think of you as a professional, as somebody who knows what they're talking about, who knows what it is that they're doing, and somebody it is that they want to trust with that biggest purchase or that biggest sale of their lifetime. And like I said earlier, if you're looking for sellers, you'll find that through buyers. Because not everybody that's looking to buy is a renter. There's a lot of people looking to buy that are renters, but at the same time, there's a lot of people that are thinking about buying that have a home to sell, that might need to sell, that might want to move, upgrade, downgrade, relocate, whatever the case may be. But again, they usually don't want to turn their back on that home until they find something, oh yeah, I could picture myself there. That might not be where they move, but that's what's going to trigger them to turn their back on that home it is that they've called home for all these years. And I know it's easy to get frustrated. Oh, I don't want to deal with buyers. There's no inventory right now. I don't have anything to show them, blah, 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 blah. But what about those buyers that have a home to sell? Oh, well, maybe in that case, all right, well, let's get them. And also those buyers that don't have a home to sell, there still is money to be made on them. And look, if you don't have time for them, refer them out to somebody. So maybe you don't earn the whole commission, but you're at least getting a piece of it for doing the work of generating that lead. But then, again, there's opportunities for referrals from friends, from family members, from coworkers. So there's so much business out there if you lean into your relationships, if you lean into the experience that you're providing to your clients. The people that I see that pick up real estate most quickly, that are the most successful the fastest are the people that lean into those relationships, that are willing to go the extra mile to help get people taken care of. People appreciate that because that is a quality that is not bountiful in this day and age, I would say. So if you can muster up that courage to go the extra mile, to have that conversation when there's not immediate business to be seen there, to give them the time of day when nobody else will, that's a great place to start, but it doesn't end there. Remember, the fortune's in the follow-up, and these are your follow-up tools. And it's not just about following up and pestering them and bugging them, but it's about staying in contact, leaning into that relationship, growing that relationship, and making yourself look like the professional that you want to be perceived as, being visible to them as that real estate professional. So look, that's about all the time it is that we've got for today. So thank you guys for tuning in. I really appreciate you guys. If you guys like today's episode, if you want more on building your real estate brand, marketing, online advertising, whatever it is, hit that thumbs up button and we'll do more episodes just like this one. If you're not yet subscribed, hit that bell icon so you get notifications whenever it is that we have new information, new videos, new content to help you grow your real estate business. And if you're ready to start your real estate career, or maybe you need to do post-licensing, you want to get your broker license, we've got courses to help you take your real estate business to that next level. So give us a call, 813-333-2676. Again, that's 813-333-2676. You can also find out more information online at tampaschool.com. Again, that's tampaschool.com. It's about all the time we've got for today, so thank you guys again for tuning in, and I'll see you next week. Have you completed your post-licensing education yet? Look, I know you're probably thinking, hey, it's not my renewal deadline, I don't need to do post-licensing yet, but look, here's why you want to do post-licensing as soon as you've got your real estate license, as soon as you're able to take post-licensing. It's not just another course about arbitrary laws that you're never going to use again. It's about real-world, usable topics that'll help you grow your real estate business, to help you take it to the next level. Look, let me ask you this one question. If this course helps you close just one deal, if you get one extra deal from post-licensing, is it worth the investment? I'd say it is. We get paid pretty well, so one deal means a lot of money. Check out postflorida.com. That's postflorida.com for the full details about post-licensing. State of real estate. Every Friday at 12 noon Eastern Time. Grow your real estate business. You're watching State of Real Estate. Are you studying for your Florida real estate exam? If you are, you need to check out our Pass First Try strategy. You're going to love this. It's 4 steps that we break down the process to study for your Florida real estate exam. So you're set up to pass your Florida real estate exam because that's what you're studying for, right? To pass your exam. It's 4 steps. Number 1, you learn the information. You've got to learn this to be able to pass the exam, but it doesn't stop at learning. Step 2, you've got to reinforce the basic, simple, key concepts. As you learn this information, keep reviewing the simple things. You don't need to know everything, but you got to review these basic key concepts. Step 3, you've got to test your knowledge. The exam's going to test your knowledge, so if you don't test your knowledge in advance, you won't find out if you know what you think you know until you take the exam. And then step 4 is be confident and prepared, because even if you know this material, you need to be confident that you know the material. Check out the full strategy at passfirsttry.com. That's passfirsttry.com. State of real estate. Every Friday at 12 noon Eastern Time. Grow your real estate business. You're watching State of Real Estate. The most powerful tool to study for your real estate exam is the Question Simulator from Tampa School of Real Estate. We've used our years of experience in preparing students for the Florida real estate exam to bring you the most powerful exam study tool available. In the Question Simulator, you'll be able to go directly to a particular unit so you can focus on the sections where you need the most practice. We have also included the percentages of each unit so you know which units are the most important for your real estate exam. Every question will immediately give you detailed feedback, which is almost always more important than the question or the answer themselves. After completing all the questions in a particular unit, you can go through question by question and review any that you've gotten wrong.
You could also print out a report at the end of each quiz. The Question Simulator from Tampa School of Real Estate is 100% mobile compatible, so you can practice with test questions anywhere you have your phone with you. Enroll now at questionsimulator.com and get ready to pass your exam.
You are watching
State of Real Estate. Every Friday at 12 noon Eastern Time. Grow your real estate business. You're watching State of Real Estate.